So in my last video, I did a 2-minute summary of Parsha Shoftim, which is the Torah portion for this week. Something I left out was the prophets. What do we do with the prophets? So I think we've got two reads on the prophets that come out of Parsha Shoftim. I think one thing that we could say in a concerned manner is that, it says that God will raise up a prophet in each new age, and God will put God's words in the prophet's mouth. Now, the reason that I approach that with some concern to begin with is this opens the door for some sort of divine command theory kind of a thing, for the prophet to be authoritative based on those verses, right? Listen, I'm a prophet, I've been raised up, God's words are in my mouth. So is there the concern that prophets could manipulate and leverage that power to their own ends, to use divine authority to say what they are saying is the right thing to do? Maybe if you've had Philosophy 101, you might have read Euthyphro's Dilemma. This is a Socratic dialogue recorded by Plato. We have nothing from Socrates. We have only that Plato wrote about Socrates. But the concern here in Euthyphro's Dilemma is essentially, does God love what is good, or is something good because God loved it, right? And this is one of the concerns with something like divine command theory, that just because God commands it, it thereby is good, but does God command only good things? So I think there's some concerns we could raise about the idea of a prophet being raised up in each new age, God putting God's words in the prophet's mouth. But I think there's also something that potentially is liberating here. So there is such a thing as the prophetic critique. I mean, this refers to a whole literary genre, the prophetic critique. And the prophetic critique is really rooted in the place of social justice. And the prophetic critique is usually a critique of monarchy, a critique of governance. When the kings stray too far from a justice-centered governance, then the prophetic critique is to say, hey, wealthy people and the monarchy, you have disproportionately held your own power. You have amassed wealth, and there's income inequality as a result of that. So the prophetic critique is a critique of monarchy, a critique of oligarchy, etc. So I think from that perspective, to say that God is raising up a prophet, well, the idea behind God raising up a prophet is that it doesn't come from a dynasty, it doesn't come from tribal affiliation, but the prophet remains independent. And with an independent prophet, you can launch such a critique on monarchy. So a couple of thoughts on prophets that I didn't mention earlier.